Right. So everyone is once again welcome to another important conversation under the auspices of the Institute of African Studies Seminar Series. Institute of African Studies is domiciled at the University of Ghana here at Legon. You are all most welcome. I will very briefly introduce the chair, who I will then hand over to continue with the rest of the event. Dr. Benjamin Kwansa is a research fellow at the Institute of African Studies with the Societies and Cultures section. And he's also the chair of the Institute of African Studies Welfare Association. And we are happy to have him chair this meeting today. Thank you, Dr. Benjamin Kwansa. Over to you, sir. At least I cannot hear from here. I don't know about others.
Yeah, we cannot hear him. I'm not hearing him online.
We still cannot hear.
Dr. Mba, can you hear me now?
Yes. And
Okay,
I presume Dennis and others can also hear right now.
Yes, I'm hearing him.
Please, it's a hybrid event. So that is why Dr. Ben Kwansa is not speaking via Zoom.
Okay, so if everyone can hear me, I think we can go on now.
Thank you so much.
Welcome all of you gathered in here at the Kwame Nkrumah Complex, and many who are joining us online. The Welfare Committee, in collaboration with the Institute of African Studies Seminar Coordinator, has put this program together as one of the programs that the welfare organizes to assist the needs of the members of the Institute of African Studies. The Welfare Committee recognizes that working in the university, it's a very stressful work. And so from time to time, we put together programs to help all the different categories of members of the IAS community. Members will remember that prior to the onset of COVID, we held a very fascinating discussion titled Postponing Your Death, Confronting Safety Issues in the University Environment. During this presentation, the resource person during this presentation, the resource person took us through how to successfully manage pre-hospital cardiac-related sudden death syndromes. And for those of you who were around at the time, you remember we were equipped with some basic tools to prevent, reduce, and or manage the effects of these risks. In addition, the resource person gave us some tidbits. Yeah, we're also equipped with some tidbits on how to manage other conditions at the workplace, such as fainting, choking, seizures, and other ergonomic hazards. And I sincerely hope that those of you around still remember these, and they've been helpful so far. It is in line and following the same objective that we have put together this program. Hopefully it's going to be another stimulating discussion on managing our health. And this time round, we are privileged to have Dr. Yaw Mensah to lead us through the presentation. Dr. Yaw Mensah is a young health practitioner, enthused and passionate about anything concerning health. He is a naturopathic doctor and holds a certificate in dietetics and nutrition. He's a founder and president of Sankofa Health Movement and the CEO of Amaris Naturopathic Clinic. Before I give the microphone to Dr. Mensah, let me say that I've personally known him over the past 2 years. And for those of you who are close to me, you know the story about my father who was almost paralyzed. And we didn't get so much help from the major hospitals that we have here in Ghana. At a point where we were at our wits' end, we were introduced to Dr. Mensah, and by the grace of God, through his plant-based medicines, dietary changes, massage therapy, amongst others, my father is doing really well now, and he's using all his limbs now. I won't bore you any further with any tales about him, but he has agreed, and we are privileged to have him present to us on the topic, the pursuit of wellness. As he states in his abstract, he's going to attempt to highlight some of the popular errors that we commit as members of the university community that usually leads us in having diseases and suffering. In addition, he will present some nuggets on wellness to help reverse the trend where many people spend their health gaining wealth and have to spend their wealth to regain their health. I find this stimulating, and I can't wait to hear Dr. Morris talk to us. I'll hand over the microphone to him now. You have between 40 and 45 minutes to talk to us. And be rest assured, we will take as many questions as possible when he's done with the presentation. Please help me welcome Dr. Yaw Mensah.
Thank you, Doc. I'm grateful. Thank you all for making time with us this moment. I'm equally grateful for the opportunity given, and it's a privilege to meet such great technocrats. So this very moment, we want to delve deep into our presentation. I believe we shall be getting down our questions. So after the presentation, we can come up with submissions. So the pursuit of wellness. The pursuit of wellness. From World Health Organization, their definition for wellness is the optimal state of health of individuals and groups. So we as individuals coming together as a group within the university community certainly, when we have that optimum state of health from the preliminary level, the individual level, certainly it all comes together and then build a healthy society. So if Ghana will be a better nation, certainly the health of the people needs to be better. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, so we can build our country. So as we trying to build the university and other institutions, it's equally imperative to understand what wellness is. So the reason why we are not saying the pursuit of health is because we want to go beyond that to attain the optimum or optimal level of understanding what health is. When you read from Global Wellness Institute, they also define it as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. That is how they define it. So every activity that we put in our lives, every choice that we're making will amount to either adding up to our health or minusing our health. Hence, it's very, very significant to have a total wellness of the human body. I just want us to reminisce on this, that few decades ago, we didn't have the most modernized hospitals that today you could wish to just go there and seek for help. Sometimes you look at the building and then that alone attracts you to get sick. That's how far the world is moving now, with the most sophisticated machinery to support us in our treatments. And then we have numerous surgeons now. Decades ago, you could barely see about 5 surgeons in the country. You could mention about 2. But today, if you are to talk about surgeons, whether in the country or beyond, they are numerous. And equally, we have countless medical officers in the system today. The nurses, the lab technicians, and all those, and the medical doctors, the nutritionists, the naturopaths, the herbal doctors, and all those. And our diagnoses have been enhanced in a way. So always machines are created, manufactured to help us in our diagnoses and in our medical investigations. And then we have been researching tirelessly each and every moment just to look into how to curb these various diseases that are taking over. And then we see real technological advancement in the system today when it comes to treatments of the human body. We are advanced in technology. Undoubtedly, we have varieties of drugs that are manufactured every moment. Almost every second, we have new drugs being manufactured. Decades ago, vaccination or immunization is something we have been vehemently advocating for. So new vaccines are being produced each and every time. When there's a pandemic, you see vaccines are in there to help curb the menace. If it's an epidemic, vaccines are in there. But there comes this agitating question that why the constant increase in morbidity, I'm talking about diseases and mortality, death rates, despite the numerous progress made by the modern health industry today. Are we failing at a point? We need to ask ourselves, decades ago, we didn't have these equipments, these qualifications, these institutions to come up with the most qualified healthcare professionals we have today in the system. So why is it that today that we can boast of having all these, we are unable to understand the spike in diseases in human beings? As I speak with you, currently we have over 150,000 people dying every single day. Every day. Over 150,000 people. And in fact, every 40 seconds, someone is trying to take his or her life just to commit a suicide. Premature death is something that we cannot overlook. It's our old folks or our parents, we are supposed to bury them when they are gone. But unfortunately that today, they are rather burying the young ones, meaning something is not going on well. So a lot of things are questionable. When you look at the leading cause of death in the United States, as I speak with you, heart disease taking lots of people's lives. And we have about 17.9 million people dying every year out of heart problems. The World Health Organization emphatically states that up to half of them, up to half of the 17.9 million people could be saved if better prevention programs were actually in effect. So what does it mean? Meaning we don't really have better prevention programs or preventive healthcare programs ongoing in the system. Cancers all over, not only our parents and the old folks, but we have our young ones who are also suffering from cancer and a whole lot of other issues. But looking into cancer, we have almost 10 million cancer deaths occurring in 2020, just 2020. This is from Global Cancer Statistics. We had about 10 million cancer deaths. So that's how far the mortality is going. And we have about 50% of mortality from the 10 leading causes of death, which actually result from behavioral indications or lifestyle diseases. When we say a lifestyle or behavior disease psychologically, what I mean is a disease that you can prevent or you can actually allow to have a place in your body. You have to give the permission for the disease to reside within you. That's a lifestyle disease. So with our behaviors, there were a lot of things that we are doing, bringing upon ourselves these maladies that are highly jeopardizing. So in particular, Doll and Peto around 1981 estimated that the contribution of different factors as a cause of all cancer deaths, and they actually concluded that tobacco consumption accounted for 30% of all cancer deaths. And we had alcohol contributing for about 3%. And then diet, the most important one, contributed for about 35%. 35%. So it is something that we need to look at. So from these estimates, approximately, we are having about 75% of all deaths from cancer that can be attributed to behavior or lifestyle. Not basically only our dietary lifestyle, but it's the most paramount one of all. The cancers in the system today are overwhelming. We have CKD, chronic kidney disease. The young ones that are brought to my facility, because by God's grace, we are able to heal them through the natural means, they are brought a lot to my facility. And amazingly, about 80% of my patients suffering from CKD are below 30 years. They are below 30 years. So what's exactly the issue? Causing our dear younger ones who are supposed to come up, grow up healthy and take the baton from our leaders. They are rather dying off, and our leaders are to bury them. We are doing the versa. So you could see this decline in human longevity. When it comes to our longevity, I did a research on the world blue zones. And there are some areas in the world, as I speak with you, they still get up to 150, 140, 130 years without wearing glasses or holding sticks and all those. They are very vibrant, and the exuberance in their youth are overwhelming. So what it means is that if a certain part of the world are still able to attain to that kind of level where they see themselves to be very healthy, and our end of the world are unable to attain to such a level or a standard, it means there is a problem that we need to look at. So why are we faced with these unimaginable lifestyle diseases today? It is the reason why we want to look into the necessity of pursuing wellness. We know that we are currently facing the 6th mass extinction globally, worldwide, in cosmological history. But only 100 billion people have ever lived. Currently, we have 7 billion people living today. Yet, we torture and kill 10,000 entire species every year. So when it comes to the plants, a lot of the plants are going extinct. Most of the foods we eat today, what I mostly tell people is, nature is there for our survival. You kill nature, you kill yourself. We are interdependent. We can never live without it. So if today we are unable to see the guava, when I was young, when guava is in season, we run through the bushes. You wouldn't have to go and plant. All around that, you see guava trees, you see mango trees, avocado trees. When these fruits are in season, you can easily access them. And it was doing a great good to human health and the sustenance of our lives. A whole lot of entire species of the animal kingdom are being wiped out every year. We are unable to create these things for ourselves. We are lucky to have our Creator furnishing us with these things, yet we fail to preserve them. I believe it comes to an individual point. If associations, organizations will fail to come up with good policies to preserve nature and health, I believe we taking the mantle individually can affect the entire world, and we can change for the better. Because I speak with you since the beginning of the industrial age, human beings have endeavored so much and have been able to produce, manufacture, and come up or create over 100,000 unnatural chemical compounds. The air we breathe today, pollution, contamination in the water we drink, the soil isn't fertile anymore because of the chemicals we are overusing in the system. Foods that were grown organically then cannot be grown organically today because we have made the environment so. We have programmed the environment to respond to us in such a direction or trajectory. And it's a sad one. There's something we call the hydrogenesis. And I believe probably most of us could have an idea about hydrogenesis. So when you talk about hydrogenic diseases, a professor will say death by medicine. Death by medicine simply means even when we are sick, going for healthcare, there are still the possibility that we go find our death there. And currently, We are having about 12,000 deaths per year from unnecessary. I'm taking these statistics from the States. Unfortunately, the undeveloped world or the underdeveloped world are unable to come up with these statistics clearly. But since they are well developed, they are able to come up with these things to help their populace of masses. So we're having 7,000 deaths per year from medication errors in hospitals. Okay, this is for Dr. Benjamin, but they called Dr. Morris for it. Because stress all around. They are human beings just like us. Sometimes you are tired, just like you are able to commit certain petty mistakes. So do they. Whilst you're supposed to be called for a medication, you'll be given one that belongs to someone. You wouldn't know. You go and take a medication that is not meant for your illness or malady. You have 20,000 deaths per year from other errors in hospitals, 80,000 deaths per year from nosocomial infections in hospitals. There are a whole lot of infections at the hospital if you go. A whole lot. So I always tell people it's not advisable to be going to a health facility and be keeping long. As soon as you are done from there, you get to the house. Make sure you wash yourself clean before you touch anything. We are picking up a lot of infections from health facilities. We have 106,000 deaths per year from non-error adverse effects of properly prescribed medication. Now, so all these are totaling to about 225 deaths per year. There are some 3 caveats that I want us to look at. The first one is most of these that they have derived are from hospitalized patients. So those who are sick came for the staffs, went home with it, or those who are dying from such causes at their various homes are not included in these statistics. So if we are to double up, you can imagine. And then secondly, we realize these estimates are for deaths only and do not include effects that are associated with disability or discomfort. A lot of people are currently physically challenged because of just visiting the hospital. I'm trying to draw our mind to something, so let's follow keenly. We have about 8.5 million out of 13.7 million deaths caused by the environment. And all these are due to non-communicable diseases. So if a disease is non-communicable, what it simply means is it could be a lifestyle disease with a greater chance. So a lifestyle disease shouldn't be permitted to make us what it's making us now. So there's a book called Ministry of Healing. When you read page 295, paragraph 2, it says the disease and suffering that everywhere prevail are largely due to popular errors in regard to diet. So with our dietary lifestyles too, there were a lot of things that are not actually going on well. Not only because we are not eating well, but even the stuff that we are eating. A lot of processed foods in the system, amounting to a lot of processed people. And biblically, when you take a quotation from Psalm 104, verse 14, it says, God who is the creator causeth the grass to grow for the cattle. And as I speak with you, I've not seen a cattle feeding on bread. Hello? Do we find any around our area? So naturally, as God designed the cattle to be feeding on grass, that this is your food. This is what's supposed to sustain you. I, God, created you, the cattle. I made your organs within you. I know to every depth of the operations of your system. And this is what I'm giving you to continue the work of sustenance. We human beings, God made same provision for us. So when you continue, it says, he caused the grass to grow for the cattle and help for the service of man. I mostly meet people, and if we believe clearly in the Bible, and we have this quotation, which God vividly tells us from his word, that he made herbs for the service of man. we easily despise the usage of herbs. I always say that we could have a problem with a practitioner, but not the practice. The practice is of good origin. We just have to come up with good measures, quality devices to be able to regulate us properly, to guide us, but not to do away with what God has given for our own treatments when we are sick. So even in the animal kingdom, today when they are sick, they visit where nature has provided. They visit the very core where they need to be well. So we have a lot of water in the system. Polluted though, is still remedial. The foods in the system, the herbs in the system, we have aerotherapy, how to heal with the air. We have heliotherapy, the sun, and a whole lot of therapies, geotherapy, how to heal with the soil. So all these are into way of studying naturopathy to know how to tackle human diseases with these natural resources God has given. And when you look at the last, and it says that he may bring forth food out of the earth. So with this, anything that does not grow from the earth or from the soil shouldn't actually be classified and categorized as food. Food was not made by human beings. It wasn't created by human beings. It has its own origin. So if the creator of such substance tells us that a food must grow from the soil, then we have to take that serious. We have a lot of processed foods in the system today, devoid of nutrients. But I tell you, we human beings with human cells can never survive without plant cells. Our human cells must be fed with plant cells for our sustenance. That is why originally, Genesis 1:29, God made provision for our diet, and it was a plant-based. So in processed foods, most of these essential enzymes for our health are lost completely. Proteins are denatured, most especially the heated oils that we use. And there's one professor that I admire so much in Ghana, Professor Ajman Bedu Akosa. For quite some years now, he's been talking seriously about the hydrogenated oils on the market. The hydrogenated oils on the market. These oils cannot penetrate into our cells. It only floats in the bloodstream. It's unable to penetrate into our cells. How can you create corn oil? Something that you chew and naturally do not derive any oil from. These are industrial substances. I call them food-like substances. They are not actual foods or real foods. These are food-like substances, but it's because it's being advertised all over, being marketed and commercialized all over, having the most convincing words. Those are what we feed on. Even to our children who are coming up. Whilst growing, we are told not to give them fruits, to give them the most plant-based, nourishing diet. We always go for canned foods for these infants, newborn babies. We are not giving them real foods. In fact, when you eat, your body acknowledges and recognizes whether what you have introduced into the system is something good or not. So you either feed a disease or you fight a disease whenever you take a bite. Never disregard that. And these oils are easily turning into acrolein, which are carcinogenic. So we use mostly these oils in frying our stuffs, and it's not the best. Years ago, we were using the coconut oil, the palm kernel oil, the shea butter for our meal preparation. But it's unfortunate that today, if someone comes to your house and you are using such oils, they might think you don't know what you're doing. They might see you with a different mind. But a lot of vitamins and minerals also become less available in these processed foods. And then its natural watery contents will also be reduced. When we talk about nutrition, understanding nutrition, actually, the nutrient in cucumber is in a watery content form. Hello? The cucumber we see, the whole thing are chaffs. The whole thing that you see after blending, what you get, that's the chaff. But the actual nutrients lies in the watering contents of the food you are holding. So if you get orange, it is the juice in the orange that is the nutrient. Whatever other thing you see, fiber, just there for a purpose. I'm not trying to make the fiber irrelevant. But when we talk about nutrients, the core substance in a food to be known as a nutrient are the watery content in the food you are eating. And most of these processed foods are devoid of these nutrients. And then most of the times we have the fiber refined to the point where we lose its benefits. So God has given us rice. We manufacture it to the extent of having a processed one. Long grain rice, the perfumed one. I don't know the kind of perfume you have been using on the rice though. God has given a natural perfume that is supposed to possess. We want to change it. In fact, if you touch nature, if you don't improve it, you destroy it. And once you start destroying nature, you destroy yourself. A colleague doctor in the States, Dr. Raymond Pearl, he said something that man is the only creature given to the practice of self-destroying habit. Meaning, when you look into the natural kingdom, the aspect of the beings who are able or who are capable of destroying themselves by their own actions and activities are human beings. In Ghana, when we started lamenting over the galamsey, I don't think it's the animals who went out there ditching the ground and doing all those galamsey things. It weren't. Human beings just like us who have refused to do what will be helpful to humanity. So it's important that whatever we give, the law of cause and effect, whatever we give into the atmosphere comes to us. So let's be mindful. So it's better, or it's time we get back to the way humans ate before industry ruined our food. Let me tell you a little about stress for us to bring an end to our presentation. I believe the questions will be an opener for most of the things. So a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. Stress, and it's one of the most common commodity today that we are selling and buying, stress. Within the human marketing sphere, the most common commodity that we are trading with today is stress. Stress all over, all around, most especially the mental stress. Yes, the physical ones cannot be neglected, but the mental one is highly imperative. So I always say that if you want to know the importance of stress or rest, check out the dangers of stress. And there's one meta-analysis showing that approximately 5 million deaths worldwide are attributed to mood and anxiety disorders each year. 5 million deaths. And already we looked at the diseases leading in America, causing so much death: the heart disease, the cancer, the lung diseases, cirrhosis, suicides, and all those. One of the causative factors, one of the biggest causative factors is stress. Most of the people committing suicide are due to stress. Most of the people dying before their time, stress. You have weakened immune system if you are stressed. And then generally, you see the slowing of the mental process. You're unable to concentrate. And then it even affects our love life and our sexual lives. So today, most of the men are complaining. Yes, they come to my end. It's because I have a natural antidote for sexual performance. Natural because I don't deal with chemicals. So once any one of them just comes to try and then realize, oh, this is natural but effective, they try bringing a lot of people. And if I tell you the amount of men I have trying to have this natural medicine for me, just for proper functioning of their erection, you'll be amazed. It's a problem of our men today. And a lot of companies have taken advantage of that, and they are just making a lot of fake drugs in there, talking plenty about it. So people, it's what they need. So certainly they'll go for it. So our men are suffering from erectile dysfunction, weak erection, premature ejaculation. Home is not that stabilized because of stress. And we have about 7,500 people dying because of unsafe and unhealthy working conditions every day. Every single day, 7,500 people. And 1,000 of them are from occupational hazards or accidents. But the 6,500 work-related diseases. So when Dr. Ben approached me that you've been having this kind of seminar, I was glad. There were a lot of institutions who are not interested in this area. So when it comes to the welfare of the employee, it's very, very significant to make such things or programs ongoing just to help them. So when you look at the impact of stress on the workforce of certain companies, you realize we have about 42% who are less productive. So if you have about 42% of your populace at the workplace being less productive, how could a company grow? That is not possible. And then we have about 33% of them being less engaged because of stress. And more likely to be job hunting are about 15%. And then more likely to be absent because they might be having a whole lot of excuses because they are not well, they are sick and all those. Are there about 12%. And then when you look at the trouble with stress, there were some companies we went and then sorted for or conducted this research with. Those who are working, the employees of the company, were asked tobacco, poor nutrition, obesity, and stress. Which of them is dominant within the company or within the individuals working within the company? And the stress emerged. That alone was about 78%. So stress is all around. And when you check for Mayo Clinic, it says too much sitting overall and prolonged periods of sitting also seem to increase the risk of death from cardiovascular disease and cancer. Too much sitting, it's the new smoke. People have been smoking and we talk a lot about educate them. It has been linked that it is the new smoking today in the system, sitting. So we are able to sit for about 3 hours, 4 hours, you're damaging your health. It isn't good for any part of your body, not only your skeletal system, your endocrine system, your digestive system, all processes will be retarded naturally. Sitting for long wouldn't help you. Sometimes it's good to be having a walk for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes to be back to your office. So developing mental stability, and then quickly we end. I believe my time is up. So we're wrapping up. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And there is no or nothing in this world that can trouble you as much as your own thoughts. I'm struggling so much that through my teachings on psychology, people will really understand the impact of our thoughts. Through our thoughts, we either damage or make things well. You can kill yourself within a second with your thoughts. You can develop high blood pressure, diabetes, a whole lot of other ailments just with your thoughts. Hello? Is that not dreadful? And Oscar Wilde said, to live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, and that is all. Are you existing or you are living? You don't take everything too serious in this world. After all, just a human being like you. What are you so much afraid of? What are you so much nervous of? There are a whole lot of things that we are afraid of unnecessarily. It wouldn't amount to anything. Yet they are the very things we worry about. We don't think to ascertain solutions. We think to worry ourselves, to bring more problems on ourselves. You need to be free-minded. You need to have a free heart. If even it's the past, some things that you have done in the past that has been following you, you need to go off them. You need to free yourself. That is why Benjamin Franklin would say that some people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. Hello? Is that fathomable? Hello? Is that comprehensible? Are we getting what he said? Meaning, there were a lot of people we see today. They are not actually living. No. They are dead already. We are just waiting when they will be breathless so we can bury them. And some are gone already whilst in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s. Don't die before your time. You need to make a living. Sometimes it's good to go for massage. And at our center, by God's grace, we do that too. However, we have a whole lot of centers in the country today. And we have degree in physiotherapy that our younger ones are even delving and pursuing currently. So kindly avail yourself for massage because it's something helpful for your body. And then, we have the World Blue Zones. Kindly go Google and search about them. Understand their lifestyle so you can also make such changes and have such impact in your life. I wouldn't want us to waste much more time. Joel Furman also once said, he is a medical doctor and a nutritionist in the States. He says, you cannot buy your health. You must earn it through healthy living. You cannot buy it. We must earn it through healthy living. And then when it comes to eating right and exercise, there is no, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a disease. In fact, it is the disease. No way to postpone. You need to be eating right and then be exercising. I always say that your diet is king or nutrition is king, but exercise is queen. So if you have your king and your queen, you have a kingdom. So if you want to rule the kingdom of your life or your health very well, your nutrition and your exercise shouldn't be overlooked. And then this is from John H. Staub. It says, any food that requires enhancing by the use of chemical substances should in no way be considered a food. Food shouldn't be chemicalized. So for us to be told that, oh, without chemicals, we cannot grow our foods, it's a complete, total lie. And I always say that health was created and not manufactured. Hence, what we can only do is just to preserve it. Nature doesn't need people. People need nature. We need to mark this. Nature doesn't need us. If God or something should happen catastrophically for the whole world to lose its human beings, this world will still flourish. The trees blossomly will be growing. The air that we have polluted over the years will be well again. The soil that we have made infertile will come back to its fertility state. Nature doesn't need us. We need it for sustenance. We need to respect nature. And one of the greatest evils that attends the quest for knowledge, the investigations of science, is the disposition to exalt human reasoning above its true value and its proper sphere. This is from medical ministry, or when you go to the Ministry of Healing, page 428, paragraph 1, you shall see this there. These are some of the few things I've been working on currently in the country. There's a Sankofa Health movement. I'm actually the president and founder. We are working tirelessly to get people understand that some of the things that we were using back then are very helpful, still relevant. We need not to push them away. We can just improve upon them and continue using them. The aluminum cookware we've been using, very detrimental to our health because of heavy metals. Some of the ladles, aluminum ladles that we were using then, were all detrimental to our health. So if we are going beyond what we are supposed to do, we can have the wooden ladles to be using. And there are a whole lot of things that we are teaching about Sankofa, going back for the relevant. And then there's a theory I came up with that we squat to defecate, we don't sit to defecate. So the reason why today most of our women are having the chamber and hall self-contained and the single room self-contained as their tummy is because they are sitting to defecate. And it is not the proper positioning when defecating. God naturally designed us to squat. So the WC has come just to program us to be sick. So let's be mindful. We need to squat to defecate. So all these things are part. And then we have the edible tree planting projects that I'm working on. So institutes such as Legon would want to look at the trees they are planting to make sure every tree they plant are edible. So that when mango is in season, the mangoes alone on campus can feed the entire campus. And then other institutions, we are trying to work all these around to get Ghanaians involved, to make sure that if we have to pursue a tree planting project, any type, it should be an edible tree so that the extinction, the rate of extinction can be reduced. And then the green juicing therapy. We have a lot of green leaves and green herbs that we have abandoned. We are not using, we don't even understand that, we don't know its benefits. So the green juicing therapy focuses on those leaves that you and I do not know that are edible, but by God's grace today we know that all these are edible. You can combine them and have a juice with them so you can have the most nutrition you need. And then working on natural first aid. So when someone collapses right here, what are you supposed to do naturally? In your kitchen, you have a cat. What are you supposed to do? Coming up with such a book too, just to help us. So basically, health is by choice and not by chance. Thank you.
You all agree with me that we've had a very, very, very stimulating presentation from Dr. Maurice Mensah. I wouldn't attempt doing any summary because I think it was well presented, and we all got what we need from this. Obviously, we don't want to die now and be buried later. So we are all taking our bits and pieces from this. I will open the floor now to entertain some questions. For those of you online, you can indicate by your hands, and then we'll give you the opportunity to do this. But let's take the first three from in here if you have any questions. And maybe I'll begin with my question. Okay, we have some hands here. Do we? Yes, there's a hand here. Let's take this first. Please, can we get a microphone to Mark Anthony, please? Those online may not hear you, so we may. Okay, so whilst we sort this out, let's take two questions online. We have Dr. Deborah Tobra and then Delise McCarthy. Let's begin with Dr. Deborah Tobra.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kwansa, and thank you, Dr. Morris. That was a very insightful presentation, and also alerting us on a number of things that we probably do wrongly, like sitting for so long at a time. But I would be happy to get a lot more tidbits, you know, kind of succinctly.
Reposition yourself.
Oh, you didn't hear me. So you can, is it better?
Better. Please go ahead.
Okay. So thank you, Doctor. Mainly, I wish you could give us a few more tidbits on the do's and the don'ts. I mean, your presentation has mainly highlighted the health problems we have and how the health burden is increasing. But in terms of actual practice for us as individuals, if you could give us a few more tips on what we should do, what we should eat, what we should not eat. I know you've talked about the oils and all of that, but what else should we do? I know you definitely would have a lot on these to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tobra. Please, let's take Delise McCarthy.
Okay, so thank you for the insightful presentation. My question has to do with the use of herbs. Like you rightly said, we know they are good, but again, we are also cautioned that as we age, our organs also age along, and so with the herbs, the usual thing is that we don't really have, how do I say it, measurement on quantity to take, the units that should be taken. So you might end up taking much more and then put a lot more stress on your kidney, liver, to get rid of them. So I think that's one big challenge we have with the herbs. How are you working on helping to address this? And just one quick comment. I think you made a comment on perfume rice. I think that is a misconception. It is actually fragrance rice. So it's not like perfume is added. These are natural in nature. So maybe just so people don't go around when they see fragrance rice or perfume rice, think that maybe perfume is added to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Delise McCarthy. I think we'll take one more online. Titi, can we have you, please?
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed your presentation. It was very insightful. I wanted to find out, you did mention about suicide and those theories, Dole and something, but that was in 1981 sort of statistics. What would it be now 40 years later? What would be, with alcohol abuse increasing, is it more than 3%? That's the first question. And then what are the limits of natural therapy when it comes to mental health treatments? For example, psychiatric conditions like psychosis, where you actually have clinical depression. How would natural therapy actually deal with something as serious as that? Is there a limitation there? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Dr. Mensah, please.
Thank you very much. For the last question, we want to tackle from there. Yes, when it comes to mental health, because we're in natural therapy, natural therapy or naturopathy, the dimensions within are not well comprehended and known to the public. We have strong, serious plants that are meant for some serious, strong conditions. I wouldn't have been able to help those with serious chronic kidney diseases, cancers, and all those. So it's about we still delving deeper, researching and studying towards that. If the efforts that we put into such area can be a bit intensified, I believe it will be helpful. What do I see today? I see most of the institutions that we are, even our younger ones who are going to Ken University for herbal medicine are all opting out today because they feel it's not properly appreciated and it's not well acknowledged in the system. So I believe it's also due to how the system has been designed to operate somehow. So it hasn't been something that they are appreciated for doing, and hence not encouraging for our youth to participate mostly in. But I believe we are making a tremendous progress when it comes to naturopathy today in the system. The response from our youth somehow low, yet we appreciate the effort some of them are making into that sphere or area of study or discipline. So when it comes to such conditions, yes, we have medicines that are meant for that, and we have other therapies. So naturopathy is very detailed, very, very detailed. Yes, so certainly there's a way out to remedize that situation. And there was a first question she asked. Yes. The measurement, yes, that was a thing of the past. When we were having problem, people were complaining a lot. But in my practice, most traditional practitioners, even some of them, but the most that I have met, when it comes to measurement, they are keen. So I didn't know where that idea came from, though. I myself didn't know. It's probably the practitioners who were more practicing. Probably. I need to state it that way, because all the old folks that I have seen who have been practicing, even from the traditional line, who have not gained the education as we have, they are keen when it comes to measurement. So I don't know where that notion actually came from. So when it comes to measurement, certainly we deal with that. And it was a few years ago when people were talking a lot about that. And I will want to clarify this. It's been said, but no research has been conducted to back that herbs destroy organs of the body. Now, God wouldn't make such mistake. He didn't create this for such a purpose. But the reason is this: if there's a good thing and it's improperly applied, certainly the results wouldn't be what you're looking at for. The proper utilization of what God has given. People take water and it's been giving them some other disorders because they are not taking it well. Or probably something has been done to the water. So mostly what I found during my researches, most of the herbs that people use, sometimes agrochemicals, the load of toxicity within the herbs affects them. The phytonutrients in plants let me make this correlation. We as human beings, we were made from the soil. Biblically, scientifically, we are made by that. The food we eat also is sourced from our source, where we come from, the soil. When we die, we go back to our source, the soil. That is why when plants also dies, it goes back to the soil. We have a common source. And that is why God thought of it that, okay, what will help in sustaining you should come from where you come from. That is why even the water we drink comes from the earth. So no one should undermine the use of or the application of herbs. I normally don't call them herbs. I call them plants, because we have beyond herbs. A whole lot of other parts of plants can be used, not only herbs. I use roots. When you were meeting me this afternoon, I was on a foreign call. Someone called from the States, was just happy commending me, a guy, which I didn't know. Apparently, the mother came Saturday, just past Saturday. The mother came, serious kidney disease, and they have tried all they could. They just only wanted to resort to dialysis, and she didn't want to. Unfortunately, someone heard it and then gave my number to her. They came, and then they are saying within few days, the kind of improvement, change that she has experienced within the system, for the past month, she's never experienced that. So he was so happy calling just to, so in fact, it's working. We just need proper regulation. I've been speaking on international platforms regarding natural practice. So when it comes to natural practitioners, we need proper regulation. And however, we wouldn't want to be regulated by those who do not have much insight and comprehension into the actual thing we're dealing with. That is why even when it comes to certain institutions, having certain lecturers on board to teach about herbology, whilst they have not studied what actual herbology is, then I doubt the credential of such people. That's right. So let's go to the next question. Yes, so let me give a little tidbits about our diet. Yes, the foremost one, we need to be eating much more plant-based food. It will help you a lot. It will go a long way to help you. There are some documentaries, you can go search on them on YouTube and then start watching them. One of the documentaries is Eating. Eating. That is the title of the documentary, Eating. Yes. So just go, there are a lot. And then through Dr. Ben, I can give much to him so he can also share with you. Anyone who relates to him anywhere or anyhow socially can approach him for one. I'll give all those to him. And then the next thing is, whenever we are eating, we shouldn't be drinking water. I wrote about that about 7-8 years ago to KNUST, one particular magazine. And they probed it and they realized it's scientifically sound, because the pH level of the hydrochloric acid within the stomach that melts our food, acts on the food we eat, it has a pH level or range in which it needs to work or act effectively. But when you drink water, you either dilute or dysregulate its work. Are we here? So eating and then drinking at the same time, or drinking whilst eating, is something, when I started researching, when I researched into that actually, and I stopped it completely. So for about 15 years, and I've not been eating and drinking at the same time, no. And it has been very helpful. Those who have ulcers, stomach ulcers, and a whole lot of other gastrointestinal disorders, when they are told to follow suit, they are able to do it correctly, and then they come up with some amazing testimonies that it's been transforming. So it's one thing that we need to try. Make sure water is not part of your food. When you are done eating, give yourself, as you are starting, You can be giving yourself 15, 20 minutes. Gradually, you get 1 hour before you start taking your water, your fluid. So it wouldn't interfere with digestion, something that is very important. Late eating should be prohibited. I know our work, the nature of our work in Accra. You get home, you get home very late. You're starving. You have no option than to what? Than to eat. But one of the nourishing diets that you can eat late, oats, but very small quantity. Hey. It's too lessly dense for you, right? You need much. That's cool. So let's do that. And then if we have other necessary arrangements that we can do to help us in our dietary lifestyle along our work and our profession, that will be very helpful so that you wouldn't grow up and then will have to come and use all the wealth you acquired, what you toiled for, to regain your health. AJ Materi said that. So it's very important not to toe such a line. It will be very, very helpful. And then some other time, I think we can have more opportunity to discuss some of these things. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mensah. Let me quickly ask this. Based on Titi's question, are you saying that there is natural treatment for psychological disorders? Okay, so Titi, the answer is yes, there are.
I just wanted to follow up with that because he did answer that, but I wanted to ask actually that you've got psychedelics like cannabis, magic mushrooms, opium poppy that Native American, Native Indians use in America. Are there ways that those like MDMA can be used to actually help with situations like depression instead of psychiatric pharmacology drugs like Valium or whatever else is used? Okay. That's actually my follow-up question, because I've heard that with cancer, cannabis is also very good painkiller instead of morphine. What is it? Morphine. So those are kind of the things, those are natural drugs found in nature. What do you think about the use of that? Should it actually be legalized, and would it be effective?
Right, thank you. So please take note of that. We'll take some more questions. So Mark Anthony, are you ready now? And then we'll come to Professor Sansi, please. Okay, Prof, you have the floor.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Morris, for a very interesting presentation. I recognize you're young, very passionate about what you do, so kudos. Alternative source of health increasingly is gaining attention compared to the orthodox one. We've been encouraged to, opt for the alternative one, which include natural therapy, homeopathy, and then, of course, natural molecules. There is a huge debate out there that homeopathy, natural therapy, natural molecules have no side effects. So when you use it, you are safe, you are good to go. What is your position on this? And then secondly, also, we've been told that, yes, the greens are great, the cucumbers, the, lettuce, and so on and so forth. And some are saying that you can even combine all of them, blend them, and use them insofar as they are greens, and you are good to go, no side effect. Others also claim for the nuts, the pumpkin seeds and the sunflower, and so on and so forth. You can also combine them, blend or grind them and use them, absolutely no side effect. What is your position on this combining and, sometimes, putting them together? And then finally, lemon. We are told it's great. When you use it, automatically gets into the system, turn into alkaline. Some say it's bad to try to use it, especially on empty stomach. Some are also saying it's great, actually, if you use it empty stomach. What is your position on this? Thank you so much for this opportunity, Doc.
Right, thank you, Professor Santi. So, Mark Anthony, you have the floor now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwansa, and the welfare as a whole for organizing this important seminar for us. Then thank you, Doctor, for that interesting presentation. You mentioned that sitting for long is not good. And I want you to throw more light on it because if we take sitting, for example, sitting and working, sitting and resting, and probably as against somebody who wants to rest and sleeps. Let's take it, for example, sleeping for 3 hours. The person might have had at least 8 hours sleep in the night, but decides to sleep for maybe 3 hours. And probably sitting, this person decided, okay, fine, maybe I could also sit for 3 hours, not working, in a way of trying to rest. So how much time is considered as not good for the system in terms of sitting? One other thing that I want to ask for your opinion is granulated sugar as against honey. We hear stories about what sugar can do for our bodies, even though we know it's very, very important. That is what gives us energy to do our work. But we understand that fine, if you take it so much, it can harm your system. But so sometimes people want to switch to honey. And now we know how honey is produced. For example, I'm always thinking bees go anywhere to get nectar or whatever to produce their honey. So is there an instance whereby we consider the honey not all that pure because of where bees can land on and come back to their hives? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So, Doctor, please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, starting from the honey issue. It is true in our system today, we have a whole lot of types and kinds of honey. It's very important to know where you are getting your honey from. But we shouldn't forget that it's a byproduct. It's like a fecal matter of the bee. Are you okay? It's like a fecal matter of the bee. So certainly what the bee is feeding on will lead to, or will result actually to, the kind of fecal matter and the richness of the nutrients in there. So it is God who has created a bee in such a way to bring such a fecal matter of a bee that will be essential to human health, as research has proven. So it's God who actually designed it in that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the quality of the honey, or how nutritionally it will be dense, will depend on the kind of plants the bee fed on. Are you getting the point? Good. And then his first question was, yes, sitting, about sitting. In fact, 2018, they made a very serious video about the damages sitting is causing. If I get it, I'll get it to Dr. Ben, so you can share with you. And due to that, people started thinking of reforming how they work. So I got a chance to look into some who were having musical studios. Instead of sitting and having their consoles and all those around them, their keyboards, they made it to their level where they will need to stand to do such things. so that they wouldn't have to be sitting for long. There are some other cultures or setup of traditions where when you get there, you are not to sit like we are sitting now. They have their way of sitting, either crossing their legs or using the mat in a different way. You know, all those dimensions are there when it comes to sitting. But pertaining to ours, just sitting like the modern world is doing today, if you sit like an hour, you need to be up. Honestly speaking, if you sit like an hour on your work, whatsoever you are doing, you know, your cognitive functioning will even be affected or be impaired if you sit for long. But sometimes you can stand up and then have a stroll, walk around, and then be back and then continue your work. So you can think about how best a remedy can be suitable for you, and then you manage to have it that way. In my office, sometimes when I have about 3 patients, when I'm done with them, I intentionally walk out just to have the air breeze, go around for a while, walk. In fact, we are made to walk. We are created to be active. That is why we have the joints. If you don't use them, they will paralyze you. We need to use the body. Just like you having a machine, it's meant for such purpose. It needs to be used. So the joints, we are having the skeletals, the whole skeletal system indicates God really wants us to be active. So sitting for long or longer periods of time has been very dreadful to human health, and it's causing a whole lot of havoc. So let's try as much as possible to be intermittently getting up, be engaging in other activities that will get us on our feet and all this. And you make sure some of your activities, you wouldn't be sitting. Well, there are some that you can do without sitting. Then you take advantage of that and then be doing such things whilst standing and all those. Thank you. And then Prof. Yes. On the lemon and then some other one. The combination. Okay, so let me start from the combination. Yeah. Prof, it's a problem. Oh. It's a problem. You go to this radio station, they call you. All right, thank you. And they tell you, oh, doc, we have heard that we are supposed to combine this and that. TV stations will call you, is it advisable for, in fact, with the combinations, I've been talking seriously about it. Even common fruits and vegetables, we are not supposed to combine them. You don't combine fruits and veggies. Vegetables are having different textural formats when it comes to nutrients. When you study into the nutrients in veggies, they have different unique elements. When you go into fruits, they have their own. And amazingly enough, if you combine them, the reaction that the body puts up are not the best. Those reactions are not the best for the system. But we see in the traffic today, the cut cucumber, carrot, beetroot, apple, strawberry, and we are combining almost everything. Even with cooked food, you need not to eat your fruit with cooked foods. Simply because fruits has a different nature of phytonutrients altogether. And then cooked foods will have to react differently to such antioxidants and phytonutrients in the fruits you have eaten. So fruits should be taken as a separate meal. And then vegetables are also supposed to be taken as a separate meal. So in my healthy eating habits presentation, I teach that a lot. So probably, Doc, some other time that we could have the opportunity, we will study that. I will certainly bring that. It's entitled Healthy Eating Habits. there are petty things we are doing in our eating habits that are not so good, It's causing us a lot of harm as, so we will certainly unveil such things when the opportunity comes. And then out there about natural healing, I don't know, there are certain things in this world you need not to defend. It speaks for itself. Natural healing is of the Creator's origin. It's God who made it. I tell people that I believe God created health. God didn't create disease. Disease came upon us through our own choices. But I believe that the origin of health is of divine. Now, natural healing. When we are to heal naturally, there are principles governing natural healing. And if some of these principles are thwarted, the consequence wouldn't be encouraging. So if you are supposed to give nunum, the local basil, to cleanse the liver, and then you go and use something different that wouldn't tackle the liver, but will go otherwise and do something differently, surely the results you will be expecting. And then we have dietary plants and we have medicinal plants. Medicinal plants are the plants that you are only supposed to take when you are sick, according to the condition you're suffering from. So there are a whole lot of medicines people are taking today. They are not even sick, but they are taking them. They are potent enough. It has the phytonutrients enriched with that to go on such a course to heal the liver when the liver is being scarred. But you don't have such a problem. And every single day you are taking such a plant, you could reap the havoc of its consequences. So it is possible. That is one. And then there are some dietary plants that has been tagged. And those are some of the dietary plants I use for the green juicing therapy. There are some common plants you need not to be sick before. Just like olden days, our parents were doing the dudu. We know the dido. Yeah. The natural decoction that sometimes they prepare for us to be taken in the morning and all those. Honestly speaking, they knew what they were doing. Then it didn't destroy kidneys. It didn't destroy livers. Okay, I say that if the plants are destroying the kidneys and the livers and the organs and are amounting to nothing, how much more the ones human beings created that are seen categorically clear as chemicals? Hello. It is natural. Its proper application should be where the agitation should come from, not the actual substance. So as in the community years ago, we realized people were having sexual engagement wrongly. I don't want to mention any name. But God has made the parts that needs to accept and welcome a penis. If you give it a different location, you're going against nature. This is logically simple. Are we getting the point? So if we cooperate with nature, the ecosystem, we wouldn't have to defend some of these things, Prof. So in fact, most of the people who have been even defending these are of little knowledge when it comes to some of these things. Sometimes they end up defending the defenseless. Okay, and then the lemon. Okay, lastly on the lemon. Yes, the lemon certainly acts in a very nice way. I have researched, I use it a lot in some of my, sometimes there are certain medicines that I need lemon because of a nutrient lemon is carrying, so it can act very well within your system. Using it on an empty stomach depends on the stomach you are possessing. If you have an ulcerative condition that is so serious and wouldn't even need it. Lemon is not against ulcers. Let me be clear. It's not against ulcers. But there will suddenly be a burning sensation and a discomfort that you will experience within your tummy. But when you take it, it's able to flush out toxins. And wounds or sores that are developed within the stomach are the most unfortunate ones because it's not open to the atmosphere for fresh air and all those. So when it comes to healing of wounds within the system, it becomes very difficult, most especially when we are always drinking and eating. It is always wet. The place is always wet, and hence healing wouldn't be hastened. Yet lemon is a good thing. Know your condition. There was a lecturer I had, and she will always say, listen to your body. Sometimes there are a lot of things that you do, you just listen to yourself. We cannot condemn it outright because there are some cases that I will give you lemon. Though I know you have ulcer within the stomach, I'll still give you lemon for a cleansing process. So the application is still the issue. Where applicable, where it is necessary to apply. Where I'm not supposed to detoxify your ulcer within the tummy with it, I'm not going to do that. Meaning it will only be needful when it's needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mensah. Let me quickly say that today's seminar, it's a little bit unusual. That's why we are extending it a bit. So we'll try and make sure we pick as many questions as possible. Before I come back here, let me go online. There are a number of messages online for you, so let's listen to that. Okay, so Denise Canterbury says, excellent presentation. It seems that modernization brings with it lifestyles and diseases that are harmful to us. We want to eat Western foods and not our own. Any comments on that? So please take note. Then George Akon, he says, very powerful presentation. Chichi comes back and says, what would be a naturopathic remedy for monkeypox? Wow, okay. She says again, you mentioned that modernization has increased the level of disease. Do you think that there exists a racialization of disease? So is disease racialized? Are there restrictions in Ghana against the practice of traditional healing medicines of practitioners who have not been schooled or certified? And then she says again, is the healthiest lifestyle one that is a raw vegan, plant-based diet and raw foods? Yes, she comes back again and says, I loved your presentation, very helpful. My final two questions. Why did you choose naturopathy and not homeopathy? Or do you use aspects of both? You are a phenomenal health expert. Do some of your friends and relatives sometimes affectionately tease you or call you a health freak or a medicine man? Thank you very much for a superb presentation. And then George Akon comes back. Oh, okay. He's responding to Titi's question. He chose naturopathy than homeopathy because naturopathy comprises of all the healing of nature. Okay, you may want to respond to this. Dillis wants to have your contact. And let's say for those of you in here, Dr. Maurice Mensah will spend a few minutes after the presentation. So if you have any questions after this, you can meet him. And we will give his contact to the seminar coordinator so that anyone here too can have access to. So Dillis, that's to your question. Theodora says, powerful presentation. Which plants are good for the nerves and muscles? Then Stella J. Dr. Mensah, thanks for this insightful presentation. So much food for thought. A lot of the things you speak of sounds quite helpful. But as we're discussing these issues within a research community, I'm a bit curious about what research went into your presentation and what longitudinal studies did you conduct to draw all these conclusions. But I heard phrases from your presentation like natural healing speaks for itself. God created health and not ill health. Pronouncements of sexual orientation as going against nature, and other Judeo-Christian interpretations into healthcare condition. My question is, are there any of these claims grounded in research findings to support Dr. Mensah's presentation? So you may want to respond to this too. Dr. Mensah's contact. Okay, I think someone has provided Dr. Mensah's contact here. Right, so please respond to these questions and then we can go one last round here. Thank you.
Yeah, so from the last one you read, I'm a Christian, and that's my background. That's where I come from. That's where I was raised, with all the principles that I live by from Christianity. I'm not looking down upon other religions or undermining someone's religion or state of affiliation when it comes to what they believe in. No, not at all. But I'm only giving my insight from where I come from. And certainly where we grow will have that impact in our research and everything. Yes, whatever that has been taught here, if you could follow, you realized most of the things were given and then were cited. So I can give the presentation to Dr. Ben when we are done. So you go keenly through and you know that each and every bit of them are researched works that are there already. So we are only researching, bringing together set statistics and all those to awaken our consciences so we can take abrupt measures to help curb the disease menace in the system. So that is the little I can say regarding that. Yes, the monkeypox, it has been on the increase now. What I don't know whether the person is in Ghana. So if you're not in Ghana, probably we will have to talk off program and then I can give you some foreign herbs that you use and all those. And if the person
Unfortunately, I'm in Southern Africa. So South Africa and Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
we don't know what we can find here.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's right. So we can do that. Yes. Yes. He's asking whether, oh, okay, the most healthiest, okay. The raw is difficult. Oh. Yeah, it's a bit difficult. Raw veganism is going on only plant-based, uncooked food, unprocessed. So you have your fruit juices, your vegetable juices, vegetable salads, fruit salads, smoothies, and that's all. You are not going to eat anything cooked. I know a lot of people have been able to. Yes, that's raw vegan. That's who a raw vegan is. I'm not a raw vegan. I'm a vegan, but not a raw vegan. I've been a vegan for over 15 years now. And it's been the most healthiest option ever I have taken in my life. I have experienced it. I chewed meat. I tasted meat. I've known meat. I've liked meat. I'm off it now. I have the experience. So you can also have the experience yourself. Yes, the plants that are good for. There's something we call teleological nutritional targeting or doctrine of signatures. So I want to urge the person to Google with that teleological nutritional targeting or TNT or DOS on herbs for nerves. And then you get properly researched herbs or plants according to where you stay. Since we are having an international something, that's why.
Please, I'm from Ghana. I asked that question. I'm in Ghana.
Oh, good. Then you know, do you know Kontomire?
Very well.
You know Kontomire very well?
Yes, very well.
Local basil.
Okay.
You know lemongrass?
Yes.
Good. They all work on the nerves. But you have to let me know the particular condition of nerves that you're suffering from, or if you just want to make it healthy, then we can know how to go about it, whether to go dietary or medicinal.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We'll have the last round of questions and then we move on. Mrs. Spilly.
Doc, thank you very much for the very educative presentation. Please, you talk about ladies, our tummies protruding as a result of not squatting to defecate, but sitting. In this same developed or industrialized system that we find ourselves, both at home and at the workplace, we have the WC. So how do we address this situation, if that is the cause of our large tummies?
Okay.
It's one of the factors.
Do we have any other question here? Okay, if no, I read the last comment from here. Just a minute. Okay, so Theodora says, when you search on Google, you find health tips with examples of plants and foods that are not common in our local environment. Is there a way you can produce some content online that can benefit Ghanaians? And there is so much false health tips out there. Providing accurate content will help. So this is a suggestion. Maybe you can comment on that. Then Max Vadon says, it may have been helpful to acknowledge that there are in fact 5 levels of nutrition, such that there are people, for example, those known as breatharians, who can live without what we consider as food and drink, that is earth and water elements, but sustain themselves only on the air that they breathe, as well as the energy and consciousness levels of creation. But perhaps this can be addressed at another time. So you may want to comment on this if you, okay. So please, may we have your last comments?
All right. A lot of things happening. Noam Chomsky, one professor, said that the general population doesn't know what's happening, and it doesn't even know that it doesn't know. So meaning there's a kind of ignorance to the highest peak, but it's all good. So we have so many forms and dimensions of the lifestyle. But the one I have tested and think could be best for anyone who comes to me is the one I will recommend it. Though notwithstanding the fact that, yes, we have other forms of the practice, but going the vegan way is also very, very helpful. So I always admonish and encourage people to go. There was a time years back when Ghana, we were talking about Meatless Monday, from the international level, Meatless Monday, that every Monday, let's go off meat to see the kind of impact it you have on. Oh, only Mondays. Only Mondays. Some are even trying to sometimes go off meat 3 times within the day. 3 days within the week. Yeah, and they are in fact reaping the much vigorous benefits that they intended. So you can try. Experience is the best teacher. Sometimes you don't experience, you only have assumptions, misconceptions, and all those. So for to avoid all prejudice and all those, kindly experience it. And then you can talk effectively about it. And if you are going to experience it, make sure you experience it very well. You do it properly, and then you can talk about it properly. There are those who have been in the practice, they didn't go through it successfully because they were doing things otherwise. And certainly you cannot give detailed testimony about such things if you are not well experienced in such areas. And then the tummy issue. Last year, I brought some people on board that we want to manufacture an artifact that will help Ghanaians. Okay, we were actually first looking at Ghana, that we could have it as something we can use under or besides our WC to be an artifact we can be stepping on to aid us in squatting. We began that, but a lot of things came up and it was suspended for a while, but we are still working on it. We were only afraid the market could be taken by our people in Ghana. When they have the strength, they see you, a little one, your idea. In fact, you are sometimes hypnotized and all those. So your idea can be taken by their strength for them to have the market on. I don't know whether my proverbial statements are clear to you. Yes, so we are still working on. We want to get ourselves to a certain level so we can start production of such products, and it will be across the nation. It should be nationwide. So you just have to buy the artifact and then you insert it besides your WC, and then whenever you go, you can easily squat on it, and it will come with sizes, with the weight. Come again, was someone speaking? And it will be helpful so that at least the chamber and hall self-contained and all those could. It's a contributing factor, not the sole factor for, it's just a contributing factor so that at least that one too can be looked at. So we are working on it, please. Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity given. I'm very much grateful for the time shared. It will be a memorable one. I'm being hopeful that as and when time goes by, we can have the time to be going through some of these things gradually so we can effect the necessary changes that we need. But nature is there for us. Let us preserve it. It will also preserve us. Thank you.
I think Dr. Mensah deserves a bigger applause. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mensah, for availing yourself to the IAS family and to presenting this and even waiting on our questions and contributions. We will bring the session to an end, but let me say and reiterate the points that Dr. Mensah and his team, actually he came here with a wife who he works with. So Mrs. Mensah, please wave so that we see you. And then he has the massage therapist here. Please wave. And then the other gentleman, I didn't get your portfolio. Please wave so that, okay. He's the manager. Okay, so that's the manager. Okay, so he came with the team. They will be here for a while after the meeting, so that if you have any one-on-one with him, please feel free to do that. I will now hand over to our host, Dr. Mba. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Ben Kwansa. Excellent sharing, excellent deliveries from the presenter and every other person who spoke. Thank you so much for creating the time to join another of our meeting. We'll just allow, as usual, 1 or 2 minutes for people to say hi, and then we'll shut down. But before that, a quick reminder that tomorrow we will come back for another exciting event, which in certain respects is an extension of what we saw today, because it's again about the African place and contribution to science and technology. It's the same time, it's a panel discussion. 3-4 fellows from the Institute of African Studies will engage that very important discussion. It's the same time tomorrow, but it will be fully online. There will be no opportunity to have a hybrid conversation because there are other events happening at the Untitled Conference Hall. Please do join us then tomorrow. But if you want to say hi or mute for just a minute or so to say hi to people that you may know or that might know you, so that we gradually continue to overcome the COVID situation. If you want to say hi, please unmute, and you can show your video also if you want. We will be shutting down in just about a minute.
Okay, hello, Dr. Kwansa.
Okay, thanks. Is that Dr. Theodora?
Yes, that's Dr. Theodora. Hello, Dr. Chika too.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, Dr. Mensah. Thank you. Thank you
Everybody.
so much. We're waiting for extra time. Once Dr. Mba finishes and closes the session, we've got lots of questions. It was very, very exciting. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we can actually stop recording, and then if people want to say something more to Dr. if he has the time, then that can happen.
Exactly.
So we will stop recording, and then if people want to say something, if the doctor has a minute, then that's fine.
Okay, so I want to say that we need such education so much these times. We have a lot of false information out there, and lots of people in our situation in Ghana, orthodox treatment is very expensive. So many people go to the naturopathy, but then there's lack of knowledge and education out there. So we are doing a good job.